Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of our Austin American-Statesman's High School Football Blitz. I'm joined again by Thomas T.J. Jones. Thomas, some exciting games, obviously, last weekend, but let's start like we always do from the top. And who would you give your game ball to this weekend?
Yeah, a big week. You know, district play started for everyone.
Absolutely.
And in the District 25 6A opener, I'm going to split my game ball in half between Lake Travis's quarterback, Matthew Baldwin, and the receiver, Garrett Wilson. It's hard to set records at Lake Travis where their offenses have been so good for so many years. But Matthew Baldwin threw 7 touchdown passes the other night in a win over Hayes, and Garrett Wilson caught 4 touchdown passes. Both of those tie a school record. By the way, Baldwin had 459 yards passing. Wilson had 225 yards receiving, which was 2 yards short of school record. So those are my game balls.
Very good ones. I'm going to go with Bowie quarterback Trinidad Sanders. Not the biggest stats. He threw for about 170, ran for about 115, 120. He scored 2 touchdowns, but they were down almost the entire game. And they came back and beat Abilene Cooper 35-34 in overtime. He scores the overtime touchdown to give them a big win. And for Jeff Abels, that's probably one of the biggest wins of the season so far.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper's one of the top 5A teams in the state. So
absolutely.
Big win for
them. What did you learn? Week 5.
I learned you still have to run the ball to win. And you look at 2 of our undefeated teams. McCallum went to 5-0 with a big win over LBJ. And Alexander Julian, who's making a case for Player of the Year in Central Texas, by the way, had 301 yards rushing against LBJ. Not to be outdone, Nomar Rivera from our Smithville Tigers, who are still undefeated, they beat Lago Vista, and Nomar Rivera ran for 307 yards. That's the first 2 times this year that a back has had over 300 yards rushing. So both of those guys, I've learned, you run the ball, you win games.
It's been like that for a long time. I wrote a story in the paper last Thursday, about the emergence of outstanding Central Texas kickers, because 5 different kickers had field goals of 40 yards or more. Lo and behold, Westlake wins the most dramatic game that they're going to play in probably this year, because a field goal kicker, Gabe Lozano, kicked a 40-yarder at the gun. They won a heart thriller against Vandergrift. And for the season, he is 6 for 6. He is 31 for 31. What I'm saying is, if you've got a good kicker at the high school level, you've got an extra element to win on your team.
Yeah, don't you know those Westlake fans were wondering where a kicker was 2 years ago when they lost to North Shore in overtime in the state championship game.
And, you know, it's been a long time since Justin Tucker played there.
It has been.
A team under the radar. Tell me a team under the radar that we don't talk a lot about that deserves some recognition.
I'm going with the Stony Point Tigers, and it's simple as this. When you look at the standings, you see 2 and 3 behind Stony Point. But remember, they had to forfeit their first 2 games of the year because one of the players, there was a question about his residency. Stony Point's 4-1 on the field, and they're averaging 42.5 points a game. Donovan Rybacek has thrown for 158 yards, rushed for another 310 yards, has 10 total touchdowns. Quarterback Zach Rangel's playing well. Stony Point's a threat to win that district. I know Cedar Ridge is a favorite, but Stony Point, keep an eye on them.
I'm going to go with Regents. Regents, a lot of people don't know much about them because they're a private school. But and they probably shouldn't be under the radar anyway, being that they went 13-1 last year. But they're 5-0 this year. They beat St. Michael's the other day, 40-0. And this is a team coached by Beck Bryden. They have not had a losing season since 2004. So good job, Regents. Whatever you do, keep on doing it. Well, that's going to do it for this wrap-up of our previous week's games. Stay tuned later this week when we have a preview of the following week's games. So, joined by TJ, I'm Rick Cantu, and like we say always, we'll see you at the stadium.